My name is Lydia Liu. Our book is called The Birth of Chinese Feminism, Essential Texts in Transnational Theory. We came upon this idea of translating some early Chinese feminists, primarily the work of He Yinzhen. He Yinzhen was born in 1884. She lived a very brief life. She died around 1920. The Qing dynasty was overthrown in 1911. She lived through the dynastic changes, and her ideas responded to a lot of revolutionary ideas that were floating in her time. Also, we included some other influential intellectuals, male intellectuals who participated in early Chinese feminism. Liang Qichao, a seminal text by him on women's education, and Jin Tianhe, who was a late Qing intellectual, who is now regarded as a pioneer in Chinese feminism.
Well, one of the goals, I would say, is to debunk this idea that is very prevalent among Chinese thinkers or even the Chinese public today, that China's earliest and the most important feminists are men. So we can't blame people for thinking that, yes, they were the founding fathers of Chinese feminism. And yet, once we go deeper into what they were saying, it was so true that not only were they, one, derivative, second, they weren't exactly the kind of feminist we today think of feminists to be, in the sense that they were more interested in saving China, saving the nation. They were more interested in shoring up their own masculinity than really helping the women and to bring women into a better world. So we thought that it is about time that we kind of put a different idea out there, and that is there are other feminists in the same period, in the 1900s, who had much more radical and pro-women ideas than this man that we today think of as the fathers of Chinese feminism.
He Yinzhen is really interesting because she is as much a feminist as she is an anarchist. And two of her major conceptual innovations, we could say, or two of her major concepts were intertwined with these two streams of thought. One of them, which we actually in the book refuse to translate always, is called nan nu, which in Chinese is the sort of, we could call it in contemporary language, mashup of male-female. Okay, it's the two words for male and female. And it indicates in a certain way, and what we wish it to indicate by not translating it, is that all social relations, all historical social relations are always already a relationship between men and women. The other concept that she uses quite frequently and that is extraordinarily important for her theorizing is emerges as well from a classical Chinese tradition of understanding. It's called shengji, livelihood. When you cross it with anarchism, you get a very potent critique of the system of private property and wealth. And so shengji, as in the way that society is completely, where livelihood is completely conditioned by your relationship to private property, and nanyu, where your relationships are completely informed and shaped by your the male-female relationship. This forms the core of her understanding and her theoretical work.
I would add that one of He Yinzhen's ideas is that she was not at all impressed by the progress made by European or American women or European American society. She thought that the factory system was disastrous for the women workers, both in Japan and America. She also thought that the idea prevalent in Europe and America of conjugal love, or that a husband and wife came together to get married because out of their equal love for each other, was completely bogus. And she didn't think that marriages in America were any less motivated by money and status and all of those calculations than they were in China. In America, we often expect a feminist theorist to have practical solutions. So if you don't like certain things, what are you going to do about it? But He Ying-jen was much more of a visionary in that she did not propose a lot of real action program. Yes, tomorrow you can go to vote. Yes, tomorrow you can go stand on the street corner and protest. But her ideas, the radicalness, the thoroughness of her critique was so energizing to us. What is so amazing about He Ying-jen's ideas is that she lived at a time when China really did not have a parliament. It did not have any major factories other than a handful of textile mills in Shanghai. And yet the questions she raised about women, justice, and livelihood are so applicable to China today in the 21st century after 3 decades of relentless drive to market capitalism and industrialization. It is so amazing that she foresaw the potential problems that China as a society today would face. One of the most amazing things since the book has come out is that a lot of our colleagues who works on South Asia or Middle East or Africa or Latin America came and told us that He Ying-jen is really, really special. They can recognize that her concerns, the issues that she took on, resonated in these other areas of the world that they work on. But they said that there is no other feminist, male or female, that they know of at the time who managed to come up with such a radical critique, both in depth and breadth. So I think that she deserves to be better known. But ironically, because she was so radical, the Chinese themselves have forgotten about her. So she is not at all well known in China today, nor in the Chinese-speaking world. So hopefully the book will actually kind of recreate a kind of interest in what she has to say.
One of our really fondest hopes for the book is that our students will become enthused by this kind of thinking and this kind of feminism, anarchism, radicalism, all sorts of isms, but that they will become enthused by it and follow up on the kind of research that it requires to continue to uncover and continue to make known marginalized figures such as He Ying-jen, and I'm sure, I don't know who they are, but I'm sure there are others out there waiting to be rediscovered.
In other words, we wanted He Ying-jen's thought to have a future.